Morning, everybody, and welcome to Business Spotlight interview. And the sun is shining, and this is a great organisation we want to talk to at the moment. It's absolutely fantastic, really interesting. I've got Sireesh from the Car Crowd. Tell us all about your business.
Hi there, Tim. Thank you for having me. So we are the Car Crowd, and we've been going since 2019, and we are a business that are absolutely passionate about modern classic cars, and we have tried to bring those cars as experts in classic cars and investments. We've wanted to bring those cars to people and help people not only enjoy cars, but be able to enjoy them in a way that they are an investment as well. So whether you want to buy it as a private car or into a private collection, or we've offered over the past few years a fractional investment opportunity where multiple people can buy shares in cars. And we've got a really good track record of showcasing classic cars as appreciating assets and good investments, but also that can be really enjoyed as well as part of an amazing community. And we've really enjoyed doing it. So we come from expertise both in financial markets and, again, as I've said many times, passion for cars as well. And we've really wanted to unlock this asset class, I guess, and help people really enjoy it in a really professional, in a much more professional way, and then help people understand the types of cars that are good to buy and procure, and ones that will give them that enjoyment, as well as I said, as ways of investing into cars as well.
What a fantastic idea! What sort of passion, interest at the same time, ability to actually have a return on investment, but also enjoy what it is.
Yeah, and that's it. It's about, first and foremost, we love cars, and we've realized that lots of people love cars. And over the last 5 to 10 years, we know that classic cars in particular, have gone up in value. Knight Frank Index shows it going up in value, something like 18.5% year on year for about 10 years. And I think if you've got the right recipe, which we think we've got the kind of thesis that backs that up using a lot of data and analytics and our passion. And if you work with us at the Car Crowd, we can really identify those modern classics. And we've helped do that. And we've unlocked that not only for investors and collectors within the UK, but also across many different countries as well. And we've got thousands of people that have been really, hopefully, very satisfied partners and people that work with us quite regularly, and it's been a really interesting journey. So yeah, we love what we do, and we have seen a really interesting take up as well.
That's absolutely fascinating. So I'm gonna. It's a bit like people having a syndicate owning a racehorse, isn't it?
I guess there's a lot of synergies. Yeah, so you can pretty much replace racehorse with cars. Cars are our passion. Investment is our profession. That's kind of the phrase that our CEO and my business partner uses, and I think that fits the scope really well. And yeah, I think because it is, it is something that's tangible. It's something that's driven by passion and a love. I think that level of similarities with sort of racehorses and, art in particular,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
whiskey
yeah.
or wine, where there's that real passion and it drives value. And I think with cars as well, you've got that added excitement of nostalgia. The cars that you had on the as posters on the wall in your rooms when you were younger, or those that were in cars, films. So cars that have been made iconic by movie culture and TV and things like that. I think there's a lot of recipe that draws together to give that passion side of things. So yeah, absolutely, I'd say some strong synergies there with people that love any sort of passion sort of hobby in that respect.
Absolutely brilliant. So just give us a couple of examples of a classic car that's actually appreciated, or just give me a couple of stories about a couple of examples about classic cars.
Yeah, so really, the diversity of this area is huge. So I think one of the ones that really hits home for me was the first car that we actually launched on the platform. So back in 2019, 2020, when the business was set up, the first car that we brought to the platform was actually a Peugeot 205 GTI. So the 1.6, so the kind of the original one, the original hot
Yeah,
hatches. And I
yeah,
think it brings a lot of memories and smiles for people. And it's kind of what we see. So we really see that nostalgia play kick in when you've got an iconic car like the Peugeot, coupled with, I guess, individuals that either saw a lot of those cars when they were growing up, or maybe had not the GTI version because they were just learning to drive, are getting to that age now, like, perhaps myself, where you're thinking, do you know what, I'd really love to own one of those cars. And you start to see the values go up, especially ones that are really preserved. So our first car that we launched on the platform was a 205 GTI, which we picked up, and it had an incredible story. One owner from new. The lady that owned it used to write a handwritten ledger of when she put petrol in the car and how much it cost, and all of that provenance and history is part of what we look for. So we don't just buy any car, it's got to be almost a time capsule. And when you open the door of this car, it smells like the 80s. I mean, it's incredible. And that was a really positive story for us, in that we still have that car. So the way that the model works, or has worked, and we're doing lots of different changes, which I'll talk about what some of that later. But the way the model worked then is that we offered that car on our platform. A number of shareholders bought shares in that car. That car's set up as a limited company, and then these shareholders then on an annual basis can vote to keep or sell the car, and the car crowd will act as the executor of that decision. And so far, because it's such an amazing car and it's continuing to go up in value based on directors' estimates of the market, the shareholders are voting to keep it. But that's gone up, in a really positive manner. So that's a really powerful sort of story for us. And then we go right through to the other side, where we've got one of the lowest mileage Ferrari Testarossas that's out on the market. And this is a really interesting story, because this was one where we actually worked with a bank, GetChip, the online bank, and we came up with a partnership approach with them. And we worked with a number of different sort of neo partners in that respect, where they've got lots of savings customers that want to potentially do something different. We've got a proposition that enables them to put some of that money into buy shares in a classic car as an investment. So we partnered with them, and we offered on their platform, or we offered to their investors on our platform, or their savings customers, a Ferrari Testarossa. Now, this Testarossa has got sort of 3,000 kilometers since new. It's come out of a private collection in Italy, out of the dealer, the Crepaldi, a dealer near Milan, whose dealer principal used to take an example of all of the iconic Ferraris and put it into his own private collection. So it hardly moved. It was very, very well looked after. It then came into the UK, into another private collection. And as I said, it's never been registered in the UK. So it really is a museum piece, and a timestamp classic. It's Ferrari Classy certified as well. And that's owned by circa 450 shareholders that have come from GetChip Bank, and they've got that, and that sits in our museum, and investors are able to organize with us to come and see it and appreciate it. And that's another really strong future potential, because that is really a museum piece, a piece of art. It's a real timestamp, and it's a really nice way of protecting these amazing cars for future generations. And then, I guess our final one is where we've actually returned an investment. So one of our real success stories was a Lancia Delta Integrale, which we had on the platform, and we collaborated with Jody Kidd on that, and we had a number of people buy shares in it. And then actually within about 9 months, one of the previous owners in the car actually really wanted it back. And they came and spoke to us. They'd seen the car on social media. They spoke to us. They put a really genuine offer in, and the shareholders voted and unanimously accepted that offer. And that returned circa, I think it was 34% return annualized, before sort of you take into consideration VAT, etc. So that was a really powerful return. So yeah, some nice success stories, and we have some amazing cars in the collection.
Fantastic. And you said, I just pick up something, you've got a museum? What a place where people.
So we've got a facility not far from Nottingham where we store all of the cars. We have a bit of an investor lounge, and people are able. So all investors, or we call it a kind of investor lounge, but anyone who's associated with the business or has got shares in the cars, they're able to organise with us to come up and see the cars, and they're all in a really secure dehumidified storage facility, and yeah, they can come up and see the cars in all their glory. So we've got about, because we, alongside of the kind of the car crowd, we've also got Boxed Classics, which are a car storage business as well. So we have about 70 cars in our storage facility, and some really, yeah, a real cross section and diverse collection. And we have about 34 cars that have come through sort of the, I guess, the fractional or the investment route, and they're all, yeah, available for people to come and see if they're investors. Which, you know, just trying to build that community and really help people actually touch and feel the cars as well.
Fantastic! What a wonderful story. Absolutely
Thank you.
fantastic. Thanks,
That's
thanks
really
for
nice of you to
sharing
say.
that. That's fascinating. So going along,
Yeah,
what have your biggest learnings been as a business owner?
I think probably the biggest learnings or learning is that nothing is permanent. And I think with, especially with product market fit. So, you know, we started this business in 2019, 2020. We were really proud of becoming regulated by an FCA regulated business via appointed representative. And we were able to target a certain demographic of investors. So we could go for what's called retail investors, and actually there was no real the kind of the water level was pretty low. So we were offering the Peugeot 205 at £18 per share for 1,000 shares, something like that. You know, we were really going to try and democratize classic car investment, and it was a great market fit, and it grew the business really quickly. But alongside of that, the FCA regulations have evolved, and they've changed, and the water level keeps and moves in different directions. And I think that's the biggest learning, is that you have to constantly be adaptable and flexible and continually look at the proposition. And even when, and actually it's probably most valuable to look at the proposition when it's going the best that it can be, or really well, to understand, right, what are the other areas that we need to maybe look into. You've got to get, I think, really good at pivoting, really good at being adaptable. There's a degree of resilience you really have to build up as well, because as I said, when you're in a startup environment, you think you're onto something and it works really well, but anything can change and the environment can change very quickly. And it is really important to pivot. And you might not have the kind of resources, which we certainly don't. You know, I come from having worked for 16 years at Aldi, the discount retailer. I was their national IT director. The resources there were much different. So if something changed, you could pretty much change. You could do whatever you needed to pivot. Whereas in this world, it's then making sure that you assess that much more carefully. But I think, yeah, 100%, the biggest learning is that nothing is permanent, and you constantly have to be ready to change, especially with product market fit.
That's absolutely fascinating. So is that the biggest challenge as well that you face?
Yeah, I think it has been. It's the the environment that we're operating within, that regulated environment that we were operating in, that regulated environment was it continually changed, and it gave us credibility for sure, and we wanted to do we want to do everything in the right way and offer the right products. But yeah, when there's such changes in the regulatory market, you have to change. You can't not then make the changes. So we had to increase the water level, or we have to build a different product. And then when you're entering into different markets as well, so we've got growth internationally. We saw that, especially in the first few years, 20 to 30% of people that worked with us or invested with us were from outside of the UK, and we saw that there's a really strong market out there. So achieving things like Sharia compliance, which we did, really helped with our Middle East market, and also then growing wider than that across different countries. That level of pivoting that's needed without potentially the resource of a large organization, it does need to be much more careful, and it really makes you think about making sure that your underlying proposition is as, I guess, agnostic as possible so that you can pivot it accordingly.
Brilliant. That's a really interesting share again, and also learnings for everybody. Talking before, got a young family. How do you balance your personal life with your business life?
Yeah, my answer might be different to the one my wife gives, but so for me, it actually has been a revelation, and I jest about the wife. So as I said, I come from a very corporate background, area manager at Aldi, and then moved on to become their national IT director. It was an amazing place to be for 16 years, but it did come with a level of huge commitment to be in the office, to be on site, to be present. It was a global business as well. I made the move into the car crowd as it was a business that I'd invested in, and I've subsequently become co-founder, and it has been an incredible change. And for me, I feel that I'm more present. I am around because we are able to work. We like to be working together. So there's only 5 of us in the business. And we've got support partners and things like that, but the key personnel are sort of 5 of us, and we like to be real face to face as often as we can, and we try to do that. But I know that I am able to be really flexible as well, and that really helps. So my wife is currently in Amsterdam on business, on work herself, and this morning I do the school drop, so I've done the school drop off. It's absolutely fine, and actually over the last 18 months I have been so much more present and able to share a lot more of the of seeing the kids. It's been absolutely amazing, and even to the point now that if I'm away for a night, my children are like, "Daddy, where are you going? What are you doing? Why are you not here? Why are you not reading us this bedtime story? Or why are you not picking us up from school?" Which is amazing, a big turnaround, and I just feel like I've been a much bigger part of their lives during these formative years than perhaps I had done before. And that's not because corporate world is horrible or anything like that. It's just different sets of circumstances.
Brilliant. For being in business should give you more life. There we go.
Oh, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's it.
100%. 100%. Finally, what is the best? We told us stories, etc. Absolutely fantastic. So, what is the best advice you'd give to an 18-year-old you?
um, so I look back now, and I think when I was 18, if I could see where I am now, I'd actually be pretty proud. I'd be really chuffed. So I'd actually say to an 18-year-old me, enjoy it, make the most of it, and make and the decisions that you made they haven't been that bad actually. But I think more so than that, and more importantly, if I were to have the opportunity to have a face-to-face with an 18-year-old me, it would be that you've got to believe in yourself. The only people that lots of people will support you. Lots of people you'll get good networks around you. There's advisors, there's coaches, there's parents, there's guardians, there's all sorts of people that offer advice, love, and support, and will challenge you. But fundamentally, the person that is your biggest advocate and your biggest the person that can make the actual difference is yourself. No one else can do it for you. And so it is really important that you do believe in that, and you give yourself that, and you believe in yourself, and you give yourself that confidence to make decisions and stick to your convictions, because if you don't, no one else will. And so I think it's really important that you do have that belief.
Brilliant. What a way to sign off. Thank you so much for your time, Sireesh. That was absolutely fascinating. Thank you.
No, really appreciate it, Tim. Thanks for having me.